Actors, we've all got issues, so let's talk about them. You're listening to Actors with Issues, a self-help podcast for actors, by actors. Hello, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, and welcome back to another episode of Actors with Issues, the self-help podcast for actors, by actors. Featuring special guests from the world of TV, film, and Broadway, we take a deep dive into the world of entertainment and discuss what it means to be an actor today. I'm your host, Juan Ayala, and today I am joined by a performer you've heard in mega projects like My Hero Academia, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Attack on Titan, The Last of Us, and Five Nights at Freddy's, to name a few. Kellen Goff, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is a great podcast you got here. I'm honored to be on.
Thank you so much. So I'm curious on sort of like the early years. How did you discover that voiceover work was a career path that was sort of attainable? Did it sort of come across just sort of randomly, like, oh, I got a voiceover audition? Or was it something that you really sort of like loved doing, like voices, impressions, things like that?
Sure. Well, I grew up. I'm on the spectrum. I have autism, and back in the '90s, nobody was really quite sure what it was or how to deal with it. My parents did the best they could, but they were already in the medium of entertainment. My dad doing entertainment law, and my mom doing photography and later entertainment law as well. And they encouraged me to get into the arts as well because I always loved to tell stories. I love to write books. Just stacks of paper in my parents' house, stapled together now. And we thought I was going to be a writer for the longest
Mm.
time, just because I like to tell stories and all that. But the advent of the internet came along, YouTube came along when I was about 12, 13, and I started doing that stuff with more and more people. And that sort of went in hand with my theater stuff at school. They sort of just intersected at the right time, and I figured out, wait, the voices that I'm doing for my friends' projects here, I could be doing that professionally. So we chased that. At the time, Bob Bergen, the voice of Porky Pig, I believe he still has a workshop, but he had a workshop back then. He wasn't taking minors though, but my dad, ever the lawyer, talked me into the class, and yeah, from there I chased it single-mindedly as a special interest, as people on the spectrum can have.
And of the we listed several of your credits before. You've been in some really, really impressive shows and these very long-running, sort of iconic, anime projects and whatnot. Has
Mhm.
there been any that sort of surprised you in the sense that maybe that it came your way because some of these projects were sort of existed already as manga and whatnot. So like, did any of them were you like especially excited for any particular project?
Yeah, I mean, when I booked Five Nights at Freddy's first, that was my first huge thing. The thing that got me in the public eye,
Mm.
and that got me on the trail for conventions as well, fan conventions in 2017. And I was already huge into anime. There are pictures of me with a Naruto headband for Halloween at school. And I so meeting the people who worked on anime and stuff was of course a dream come true. And one person in particular I met, Colleen Clickenbeard, directed My Hero Academia at the time. And she was like, "Hey, you're great. Send me your email. I would love to get you on the audition list." So I was like, "Okay, cool." And in Hollywood, stuff like that happens sometimes. If something comes of it, cool, but you sort of move toward the next thing, right?
Mm.
But a year later, I did get the audition for Overhaul in My Hero Academia, and thankfully, I booked it. So that was a surprise, of course. Like hearing from her after a year, I thought she had completely forgot about me, but you never know.
Yeah. I love hearing stories like that. There's one. one of my favorite sort of books about acting and whatnot is Jenna Fisher's book, she's Pam from The Office, her book
Uh,
The Actor's Life, A Survival Guide, and she talked about how, Allison Jones, who ended up casting The Office, you know, always was like a big champion for actors, and if she would rant, she would keep a box of like business cards with like a maybe a little sentence or two on the back of it to remember
mm.
who it is and whatever. And um, she'd always remember folks. She's like, "Oh, I met Allison a year ago," and then a year later, I get a call out of the blue, like, "Hey, why don't you come in and read for this for this character or whatever?" And I
Love
love stories
that.
like that. It's so great.
I get into casting directing every now and again too. I love hearing stuff like that. I always tried my best to keep people in mind as well, because everybody's got a very specific talent
Yeah.
within the subset of stuff they do. So I find that stuff interesting as well.
Yeah. And with Five Nights at Freddy's, I loved the first movie so much. I'm so excited for the second one. I'm a
Mhm.
big Josh Hutcherson fan since the Bridge to Terabithia days, one of like the books everyone
Oh
read growing
man.
up. What a
My parents
devastating.
didn't let me watch that one. They with the whole autism thing, they were like, "Oh, should he be learning about death this way?" Hmm.
Good call though.
Yeah, maybe so. I still got to go back and watch it, but
Yeah.
I've heard his performance and it is great.
Was there a different approach you found in voicing characters for the game versus the film because it was sort of a different medium, or I'm curious about that. You know, it's like
Well,
voicing someone for animation versus like live action, but
yeah, yeah, completely. Scott Cawthon, who created Five Nights at Freddy's and is still a big part of it today, is a very interesting beast, that man. He doesn't really do things conventionally in a lot of ways, and I kind of adore that about him.
Mm,
He's very hands-on with his actors in a way that like sort of cuts through the entire ladder of chain of command type of deal. He'll sort of reach out to me directly when he wants something from me.
mm,
Yeah, which is, in the land of huge movies and huge video games and stuff, that is a very rare thing, but I respect it a lot. It makes me feel respected that he would just come to me and cut through all of the, everything around it. Um, the video games were at least when we were first doing them before Steel Wool took over in, I believe, 2018, 19. He would just come to me directly and say like, "Hey, this is what I want. Can you give me a few takes?" I gave him a few takes. That was it. I would do it on my own, and he would completely trust me to do whatever I wanted with it. I even edited my own audio with the effects and everything. It's
mm.
it's a very he trusts me with a lot. I'm very grateful for that. So when the movie came along, I was actually at Shakespeare Camp in the middle of Lenox, Massachusetts, which
Mhm.
is quite the middle of nowhere in the best way. It's like a little village in the mountains, kind of. But he asked for it smack dab in the middle of the month-long intensive, and I was like, Okay, yeah, sure." I figured it's a movie. He must have a studio thing with them or something. But no, Scott just is like, use what you got wherever you got. We'll use that. So he was like, "Hey, can you do a voice for Foxy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Can I do it when I get back?" He's like, "We'd like it now." And I'm like, Okay, well, I mean, I don't really have a silent space to do that." He's like, "That's fine. I don't really have a mic to do that." He's like, "That's fine. Just use your phone." So I use this. This is what
Yeah.
this is the microphone for the first movie.
Wow.
Um, and it works because not only are the geniuses at that edit the audio and everything just like adept at making anything sound like professional, but he's a creaky, broken robot anyhow in an echoey hallway. So it was kind of method even. It was kind
Yeah.
of perfect.
Yeah, there's no need for like super squeaky clean audio for that. He's not talking
For
into
a
a mic.
broken robot now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with your many years of experience and lots of sort of young actors listen to the show and watch online, what advice would you have for a young actor who wants to get into voiceover? Because I've taken several like voiceover classes, and the first thing the teachers always
Mm.
say is like, it's not about having a great voice, it's about acting still. It's still
Hmm.
voice acting. So what advice do
Hmm.
you have?
I mean, I absolutely echo that. It's a little different for me specifically, my method. The whole autism thing, it's like an auto process once I look at a sheet. So, um, I will say that mimicking stuff has helped in that I can take certain aspects of what I've mimicked and create a new voice out of it. That's the main advice I'd give to kids who are trying to, or young adults or adults who are trying to get into it, especially on the spectrum. Take apart the sandwich that is an actor's performance or a character's performance. Take apart that sandwich and use that bologna, uh, the bologna from that one, the mustard from that one, the lettuce from that one, and make a completely new sandwich, and you
I love
got a
it.
completely new character. Um, any performance can be divided down into specific components. What their cadence is, what their texture is, low, high, fat, thin, all that kind of stuff. You can absolutely play around with that to create new characters. I would just say don't get stuck in just doing impressions of characters and that's where it stops.
Mm.
Um, Take that further. The I meet so many kids who are like, I can do amazing impressions. I'm like, cool, that's a great tool to start with. That's awesome that you can mimic stuff. Now, take what you got and create something new out of it. So that's what I for voice acting. That's the advice I would give.
Mm. And we love to talk about like mentorship and whatnot on the show because it's so
Mm,
important for young actors especially to like have their little community of artists and folks who you
yes.
can go to for advice, folks who are in a place you want to be one day. So sort of now's the time if there's anyone that you would like to shout out, thank for being a mentor, for being that support type of person. Does anyone come to mind?
Oh, of course. Yeah, well, my mom and dad are at the top of the list for sure. They not only supported me every step of the way, drove me to auditions, to classes and everything. Even, I grew up in the San Pedro area, so braving that highway during rush hour every week, that they did not have to do that. They also taught me, etiquette and standards for the industry, interacting with professionals and everything. So I accredit them a lot with how I approach things professionally, creatively, and the whole voice acting part of it. I mean, Bob Bergen set me on the path right away. Richard Horvitz was instrumental in pulling me out of the voice versus acting thing. Um, Charlie Adler really just cut down to it and made sure that I was not that I was not screwing around in the wrong way.
Mhm.
You know, um, Debbie Derryberry, David Sobolov. There are so many that have helped me so much on my journey. Richard Green. I'm I'm grateful for each one of them. But I think that's the important thing about voice acting or acting in general. Learning from only one teacher is only going to teach you so much. They can know so much, but like no one person can know everything. So seek out multiple teachers.
And there are so many sort of like peaks and valleys in one's career. We sort of hope it that our careers have like a snowball effect, but in reality, it looks like a pulse almost. Like you book something and you're
Mhm.
on a high, and then there's a dry spell in between. And so, how do you stay creative and motivated in between sort of those busy times?
Great question. Well, me personally, I mean, I'm of the mind that everybody should have, every creative should have something that they do in their spare time that does not make them money. If this project makes them money, then it's not full passion anymore. That's what I think. Like, not to say that, something that pays you can't have passion for, just to say something that is unhindered by monetary value, something that you can put your whole self into without the stress of any financial stuff, that's invaluable for shaping everything else. And keeping you motivated. Me personally, I have a production company called the Ink Tank. We do extended universe Ben 10 lore stuff on our
Oh,
YouTube
cool.
channel. Yeah, it's so much fun. We love keeping the fandom alive. We haven't really seen anything official for a little bit here. We're learning, there maybe a comic book run on the horizon, but we're doing our best to keep the Ben 10 community strong. And we've got, I mean, we've got over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. So
Wow.
yeah, we've been, we've been, we've been pretty part of the community. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I just love, I've loved Ben 10 since I was a kid. So I love, getting with other creatives and making stuff that very well. See, my favorite thing, last tangent, but my favorite thing in an IP is if it's a universe that's big enough that you could create an original creation and it could possibly be there because it's just such a big universe, like Ben 10, Transformers, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, something where it's like infinite possibility.
Mhm.
So Ben 10 in particular, we love making lore for, like, what are the species out there? What are their societies like? What are their planets like? All that stuff. Far past Ben's story. So anyway, um, finding a passion like that, something to do with, especially with other creative minds in your spare time, is going to inform what you do and help so much.
That's so cool. I have a nephew who's a senior in high school now, but I used to watch Ben 10 with him all the time when he was little, and it's such a
I
cool
love it.
idea, such a cool like universe, and just the way that it kind of just like kept going, and they'd grow up and introduce new sort of um,
Aliens and everything
aliens.
and
I was like
zombies.
creatures. I'm
Yeah.
like, what do they consider them?
Yeah.
It's been a minute. But that's
No,
so
no
cool to
worries.
hear that like the community is still very active and all that.
Yeah, yeah. From the smallest fan up to the people who worked on the show, the people from Man of Action, Duncan Rouleau, the voice actors Yuri Lowenthal, Paul Eiding, David Sobolov. They've all been on our channel talking about how they wish Ben 10 could come back, and we're pulling for that too. We hope so one day.
Yeah. And we sort of call this like our $1 million question, because
Mhm.
young actors ask this all the time, whether it's on Reddit or forums or Facebook groups. But um, they sort of feel stuck if they finish their conservatory or their BFA program,
Mhm.
and they're like, okay, now what? What do I do now? I've got my headshot, I've got a resume, I've got some theater credits, but how do I get my first agent or my first manager? How do I get the ball rolling in my career? So, what advice do you have on that front?
It's tough. It's a different world from when I first got into it. But I would say consistently, the thing that's helping right now is to seek out indie creators online
Mm,
and ask them if you can help out in any way. More and more indie creators are launching these huge audiences with amazing stuff that the like a huge production company can be such a boon, but it can also hinder the creative process, the speed of it sometimes. So watching these indie creators create what they do out of pretty much their basement, it's inspiring to see, and being a part of that, not only it keeps you inspired and motivated, as I've said before, with Ink Tank, but it also, you know, you can rise up with them a little bit as well. You can meet people who could turn into the next big thing, but most importantly, you just meet people who are passionate about what they do. And I am of the mind that passion in the end, more often than not wins out. That people in power recognize when something is special. So if you contribute to something you feel is special, then it will most likely lead you in the right direction.
Awesome. And before we go, we always like to end with a quick game. So pick a number, one, two, or three, and that'll determine the game we play.
Three.
Three. All right, three is it's time for life's big questions. So
Oh
we always
boy.
start with if you could have any superpower, which would you choose?
Oh, I've thought about this one a lot. Either electrokinesis, because there are a lot of things that come down to electrical, whether it be synapses or infrastructure or anything, or just psychic abilities in the subset of those.
Hmm.
That because that also leads into a lot of different possibilities.
What is your favorite way to consume art? Movie going, TV watching, concerts, museums,
Hmm. That's
podcasts?
tough. That's really tough because each one of them is fun for their own reason. The first one that comes to mind is video games, just because
Mm,
they're so interactive and you can I like modding video games. Recently I've been modding Spider-Man 2, but I was big in the Skyrim and Fallout modding communities
yeah.
once upon a time. There's just so many different ways you can go with a video game.
Mm. If you weren't working in the arts, what would you be doing?
In if I wasn't working in the arts, I always wanted to. I mean, outside completely of like audio engineering and all of that, if it was just not entertainment at all, I always flirted with the idea of being a longshoreman. I love the yeah, no, I love the sea,
Yeah.
and I feel like it would be a bit of a simpler life compared to the entertainment industry, and I would I would definitely glean some relief and satisfaction from that.
Mm.
Mhm.
What movie or TV show reminds you most of your childhood?
Uh, Probably Codename Kids Next Door. I was
Oh,
like, I know. I was so huge into it growing up, and it inspired me to like make all like I had planks of wood that were duct taped to bottles strewn about my parents' garage. They were sick of it, but I loved it. I loved making 2x4 technology, and I loved playing pretend that I was like a secret agent or a superhero or whatever. So Kids Next Door definitely embodies that.
yeah, man, we had such good shows growing up. We were like a lucky generation between like Teen Titans and Kids Next Door and Courage the Cowardly Dog and
Jimmy Neutron,
yes,
Ed and Eddie, just Courage the Cowardly Dog.
yeah,
Wait, did you already say that
I
or
did. Yeah,
okay? I was like, I'm going to say it twice because it was such a good show, and I love the voice actor. He's a great guy.
yeah. What existing TV show would you love to join the cast of and in what kind of role?
I mean, Ben 10, absolutely. I would love to be an alien one day. I would love to originate a Transformer in the Transformers series. Um, Pretty much, I would love to be the first actor to originate any role in Ben 10 or Transformers or Naruto or Dragon Ball Z. Pretty much all the stuff I said
Yeah.
before.
And in 10 words or less, what advice did you give to a young actor?
In 10 words or less, uh, find your tribe, stay creative, don't give up.
Love it. Awesome. Kellen, thank you
Please.
so much for joining us today. If anyone wants to find you on social media, where can they find you?
At Kellen Goff on most things. Kellen like new, Gof like Frank, F like Frank. Yeah, I post all the updates on what I'm doing, my new roles, convention appearances, all that. Mostly on like Instagram and Twitter and stuff.
Thanks for joining us. Actors with Issues is hosted and produced by Juan Ayala. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or on the podcast platform you're listening to. Visit actorswithissues.com for exclusive news and reviews, and give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok at Actors with Issues.